Hello everybody. So in this last video of Module 10, we're going to look at the scenario of comparing metric questions with metric questions and seeing if there's differences or correlations. An example of that is, for example, there may be a correlation between people who follow a healthy diet and people who exercise frequently. I mean, just using your common sense, there probably is a correlation between those two. That's just an example. So XLData Analyst is going to give us a correlation coefficient, and it's a number that ranges from -1 to +1. So we can have negative and positive correlations. Negative just means two variables move in opposite directions. For example, the age of a car, as it increases, going up, the value decreases, the value being going down. Or we can have a positive correlation, which is something like, for example, the more education a person receives, the higher their salary. Both indicators or variables going up, positive correlation. Okay, so it could be either way. So XLData Analyst is going to give us some output that sort of looks like this, and essentially the correlation could range from none, there's no correlation between the two variables, to very weak, moderate, and then the strongest would be strong. Okay, that strong could be negative or positive, but it's still strong. And in terms of what we're looking for as in XLData Analyst, we're looking for moderate to strong correlations. Anything else is not really interesting or significant from a marketing perspective. So for example, here's an example that we're going to do. We're going to look at the College Life Survey, and we're going to look at the slate question, which is a metric question, and the answers range from strongly agree to strongly disagree. And we're going to see if there's a relationship between how the respondents agree with each of the different slate questions. I think there's about 5 slate questions. This is a multi-step process, so you select only one at a time. So you can select, we run the first slate question against the other 4. Then we run the second slate question against slate question 3, 4, 5, and then we run slate question 3 against slate question 4, 5, and then we look at we'll analyze the results. So let's just go do that now. I've got my I've got Excel open, and I've enabled the content. So what we do is we go XLData Analyst, and we're interested in we go to Relate and then Correlate. And we get a screen that might look kind of familiar to you now. So we're doing the slate questions this time. So what we do is select the first, and that will be our primary variable. And then we select the second slate question to the last slate question, and that's in the other variables. And then we click OK. And what it does is it does some processing, and we can see that we have one moderate, which is interesting to us from a marketing point of view, and everything else is very weak. Now we're not done. We have to run this several more times. So we go back to XLData Analyst, Relate, Correlate, and now pay attention to this, very, very important. You select the second slate question, and that becomes your primary variable. And now you only do the 3rd through the 5th, and that goes into the other variables. We click OK. Right? So we don't have to ever select the first one again. It creates a new tab, and look, everything is weak, so there's nothing to report here. Then we still have to do it again. Relate, Correlate. And now we're doing the 3rd slate question, which becomes the primary, and then 4th and 5th add to the other variables. And there's no correlation there whatsoever, so there's nothing to report. and but we need to run it again. So now we do correlate again, and I believe we're on the 4th. So we go to the second to last slate. That becomes our primary, and the last one is the other, and we click OK, and there's nothing. So what we have here is one moderate, and I believe that's it. So let's have a look at the presentation. So what we found, the results were one moderate, and that's it. So the only thing that you have to report is there is one moderate correlation between how respondents replied to having a tool like Slate greatly enhances my learning, and one of the great things about Sheridan is its use of advanced technology like Slate. So this interpretation would be listed as a sub-bullet on the Slate page. Okay? So in the last example, we did correlation of one question against itself, the Slate question against itself, but you can also, and what's often more common, is to compare two different metric questions. So for example, we could also go back and run the nutrition question against the auto question. And I'm not going to do that, but you can do that. It's the same process. You're just running two questions. You select the first nutrition question with all the auto questions, then run the second nutrition question against all the auto questions, on and on and on. And what you would find is that there's no significant correlation, which kind of makes sense. Okay? So the last thing I wanted to talk about was in your report, for your individual report, the appendix. In the appendix, you'll list all of the XLData Analyst reports must be presented in the appendix, but only the significant results should be in the appendix, not the insignificant ones. In other words, only the results where you found some significant correlation or differences. I would encourage you to open the Word document posted online in Module 10 called Appendix B to see how the significant findings from today's lesson would appear in the report index. Also, in your report, special notes about your report. In your report, you want to, of course, display your graph, write your bullet summaries, write your significant segments or differences as sub-bullets, write the significant correlation sub-bullets, and then write special notes sub-bullets. In what would be in the special notes, the sample special notes that you would add to your reports would be the following. And these are really good examples. You could add things like there were significant but minor differences across the regions, maybe due to low respondent numbers. These are not detailed. You should add a statement like this one. Other than the items indicated above, there are no significant differences. In other words, what you're trying to say here is that everything that is significant, I've put in my report. If it's not here, that means it's not significant. If you didn't find any correlations, then you should say that. There were no strong or moderate correlations found. And then see Appendix A for all responses and Appendix B for detailed responses. So this is Module 10. To gain your class credit for this module, you should have followed along with me on all of these examples and then post your Excel file. Not in the discussions, but there I've set up a Dropbox for you to post your Excel file. That's it for now. Thanks very much.